Okay, so in today's video, I'm gonna be ranking all of the weapons in GPO from worst to best in terms of PvP. So let's just get this started. Starting off, we will start with the Katanas. They're gonna be in their own tier because Katanas on their own are not that great. They need the one sword style or two sword style fighting styles in order to have skills, because without that you just have a weapon without a skill basically. But I am gonna arrange them though based on their base damage. So we have the Musashi Katanas here, followed up by the Kraken Katana, Sea Beast Katana, I think this is Ryu's Katana, Sky Blue Katana, and then the normal Katana which you can buy. And we will follow on with this list by the images here. So first up we have Cupid's Battle Axe. Cupid's Battle Axe is decent. It has a fast guard break. The grab move isn't that great to be honest, and although it looks like a heavy weapon, it's more of a medium speed weapon. It threw me off guard when it was relatively fast in attacking. And the grab move doesn't even combo extend, and its range is very short, which is not that useful in PvP unless you can catch someone off guard. Next we have Bells. I'm gonna put it in the just don't tier because it has a very short M1 range, low damage, and it only has one skill which heals you and your allies nearby. Not useful in PvP unless you're doing like a team fight or something, but if you're just using it on its own, it's very bad. Next up we have Vicento. I'm gonna put it in decent above Cupid's Battle Axe. Reason being is that it is considered a slow singing weapon because its M1 scaling is the same as the ones with Elos Hammer, but its M1 speed is actually quite fast, like medium speed fast. That's the only thing that's good about Vicento for me. The skills are very slow, and the sweeping skill has an end lag after you use it, so you can be punished after you use that skill. Next up we have the Crab Cutlass. I put it in good. It would be at best if this wasn't if this was like made. If I made this video before it was nerfed, but right now it got nerfed. It's still good, although the nerf on it is that its Cutlass Lunge, which is its guard break, is quite slow now. They slowed down the startup, and the M1 scaling nerf, which was universal for every sword, it affected this weapon too because it's a fast M1 sword, so its damage isn't that great in terms of M1 damage. For the candy cane weapons, I put them in good, just below Crab Cutlass, or maybe no, I put them above Crab Cutlass because they have a very far range for a fast speed melee weapon. It's like the same speed as Crab Cutlass, but the range is further. Although it has two skills, only one of them is ever really useful, the Blast Freeze, but even so, you can get punished by using it because it is very slow. It has a slow startup, and if enemies are good enough, they will try to jump in the Flash Freeze and PB you, which is not a good situation to be in. And the Sweet Treat move it's nice to have. It's increased life regen. Next up we have Elos Hammer, the first one in the best tier list. Even though it's slow, its M1 scaling is pretty high, and the Pounding Festival damage is very high too. If you put like 700 into sword, you can deal a whopping easy 500 damage with just one M1 sequence to uplift than the Pounding Festival move, which is very crazy. And also both of its moves guard break because Pounding Festival is a grab, and the first move, Elo Smash, I think that's what it's called, it's an AoE guard break. It is quite fast too, but it does not have a hyper armor, so you have to be careful with this weapon. Next up we have Flowers. I'm gonna put it they're gonna be on the same tier as, no, actually I put it above flowers. I put them above candy cane. Reason being is that it has a combo extender, which is always good, but on its own, it's not that great if you use it. It's like as your main weapon for PvP. It's good if you're using like a fighting style, and flowers is your support weapon because of the combo extender, which is always nice to have, and the flower smell, which can increase your stamina regen. I forgot what this thing is called. Festival Answer, I think it's called. Yeah, it's in amazing tier, although it only has one useful move. I don't really see the use for Ice Wall. The Festival Crash it's a really good guard break and a combo extender at the same time. It's even better if you hit an enemy against a wall using the Festival Crash, because you can wall combo them basically, and they won't be able to escape the crash. The only downside I have with this weapon is that it is quite slow in its M1s, and the scaling isn't that great. It's not the same scaling as like Vicento and Elos Hammer, and that if you crash your enemy into the ice wall that you have made, you cannot combo extend off of it, because the ice wall will explode and your enemy will go flying off. Next up we have Gravity Cane. I'm gonna put it just below Crab Cutlass, although it has higher range than Crab Cutlass, I believe so. It is fast, it's good, but it doesn't have any guard breaks. It does have a barrage move if you can catch people off guard, or you can punish them after a PB or a guard break. But on its own, it doesn't really offer much, except when you're good at the game and you have Zushi, it gets buffed by a bit. I've seen a lot of high win players use this weapon frequently. Next up we have I think this is Golden Hook. I'm gonna put it in high decent tier. Reason being is that if you have Suna, the range on the Impale move is drastically increased, and you also drain their stamina too, which could give you an advantage. No, not it will give you an advantage over an enemy, especially if their devil fruit consumes a lot of stamina. The poison move is also good for chip damage. The only downside to this weapon is that it has a relatively short M1 range, which I don't know about you, but I don't really like short M1 range weapons because it's quite hard for me to land. Next up we have Hollow's Fang. Now, Hollow's Fang is, I'd say, a bit of an underrated weapon. It has a nice and unique combo extender if you manage to land it, which is the Shadow's Mark. You leave a shadow behind and then you can TP back to it. And it also has a guard break, which happens very fast too. So I'm gonna put it above Gravity Cane. It's overall a good weapon if you're up for the challenge on using it. Next up we have Kiribachi. I'm gonna put it above Golden Hook, because you can combo extend off of the spinning move, and the guard break is similar to Elos Hammer Smash, though it is much slower, I think, which can let the enemy punish you if you're slow with it. Next up we have the Kraken Swords, the Kraken Great Swords on best tier. They have the same M1 scaling as Elos Hammer and Vicento, slow swinging weapon and high damage too. It has a good guard break, a reliable one, and it also has hyper armor that move too. And the other move is it's a barrage move that you can combo extend off of. And you can also combo extend off of the guard break move if you hit the enemy against the wall. Next up we have the Golden Pole. I'm gonna put it just below here. Reason being is that it's only ever good if you're using Goro or Mink, because of the guaranteed Mink stun or longer stun, and that's only ever used The pole is only ever used with Mink players or Goro players basically. On its own, it's not that great. It has very long startups, and the only guard break is the other barrage move, which also has a very long startup, which can be interrupted. Next up, we have the Festival Shield. I'm gonna put it above the bells. It's a bad weapon, really. Slow M1s, and then even if it's slow, its M1 damage is not that great either. It's very weak. The skills are underwhelming, especially the counter. It doesn't even counter 100% of the damage you receive. The grab is decent, I guess. It deals a good amount of damage, but other than that, it's a really bad weapon. Also, the fact that it's a shield and you don't get enhanced block from it, which is very cringe. What's the point of it being a shield if your block doesn't have an increased durability while using it? Next up, I'm gonna put Jester Sight in amazing tier, high amazing tier. I've had some experience with this weapon, and it's really good, especially if you have a fruit like Pika or Goro with TP dash. You can combo extend off of the Crimson Slice move and the Reaping Slash move, which is its guard break. You dash forward, and then you also pull enemies in your direction where you're dashing, and then you guard break them. And if you're fast enough, you can also combo extend to where if you catch the enemies that you guard broke to where they flung. Next we have Trident. I'ma put Trident here. It's not lower than Sight, but they're the same. Or maybe lower than Sight, just because it has a lower M1 damage and I think lower range too. But the Impale move is a solid guard break. It's fast, it's close range, and also the pull move, you can use it to combo extend off of certain other moves as well. Like if you use Magu, you can pull the enemies out of your eruption to combo extend. And for the last weapon, it's gonna be the wand. I'm gonna put it here, the same tier as shield. It's not lower than shield. They're the same. Reason being is that once again, low range, low M1 damage. The skills aren't that good either. The heal move is nice. Heals like 50 HP. And the guard break, it is ranged, but it is also easy to PB it because it's very predictable on when it's gonna land the lightning. So that's it for my tier list. And if you think that if you disagree with my opinions here, feel free to let me know in the comments which weapon deserves to go lower in the tier list or higher in the tier list. And that's it. See ya.